Yep, that's one messed up looking dog. Alright, so raise of hands here. Who knows Kirby? You're all on the internet, of course you do. Kirby's Dreamland on the Game Boy is the subject of today's video. The first game in what is a beloved Nintendo franchise, although my introduction to Kirby was on the Game Boy Advance with Nightmare in Dreamland, which is a remake of the next game we'll look at in this series, Kirby's Adventure. I'd continue to play more Kirby games as I grew up, such as Kirby's Air Ride on the GameCube. I honestly look forward to reviewing that game at a later date. I've spent so many hours on Air Ride that I'm pretty sure it's what killed my original GameCube. That is, of course, a video for another time. Right now, let's focus on the game that brought us this adorable pink marshmallow and its creator, Masahiro Sakurai. Ah, yes, Masahiro Sakurai. I imagine nowadays he's most well known for his work on the Super Smash Bros. Games, but he was also the creator of Kirby. At the ripe young age of 19, he was hired to work at Hal Laboratories, a subsidiary of Nintendo. Not long after that, he was tasked with making the perfect introductory game for the Game Boy. Yes, you heard that right. He was only in his early 20s when he was tasked with making Kirby. What did you do around that age, huh? Yeah, that's right, enjoying yourself, you beautiful person. As stated, the game was intended to be made as an introductory game, baby's first video game, one could call it. Bearing in mind a few exceptions, Kirby games are generally known for being easy, with the only real challenge coming from optional post-game content. I guess somewhat reflecting that, Kirby himself is also very simplistic design-wise. He was just a placeholder while they worked on the real protagonist character, but everyone at HAL Labs loved the design so much that they just said screw it and kept it. One thing that couldn't be decided on was what color Kirby should be. Shigeru Miyamoto wanted Kirby to be yellow, but Sakurai insisted that Kirby should be pink. This bickering must have gone on for a while because when the game was brought over here in America, Nintendo of America said screw it and just made him white since the Game Boy was in black and white, or puke green. Kirby would be pink in every game moving forward, with yellow being used as the player 2 Kirby in select future games and even Smash. I think this was the right call. Kirby was designed to be cute, and I think the pink coloring reinforces that to me. While we're on the topic of designs, I'll bring this up now, but this game has some cute enemy designs. Waddle Dees are my children, and yes, so are Waddle Doos, freakishly huge, eye and all. King Dedede is my spirit animal. Seriously, I think I just love everything about him. His design, his attitude, his expressions, they all just speak to me. Bowser may be my favorite Nintendo villain, but Dedede is absolutely a close second. Kirby's Dreamland released in April of 1992 in Japan, and August of that same year in the rest of the world, and would be the game that I feel is what put HAL Labs on the map. As of 2010, the game has sold over 5 million copies, and would spawn one of HAL's most successful franchises, with several games, spin-offs, toys, and even an anime all following suit. Have you guys ever watched Kirby Right Back At Ya? It was pretty good. An anime. Kirby's Dreamland is now 32 years old, and the series is still going strong to this day. Why don't we take a look at that game that spawned this cute, cuddly, and sometimes nightmare-inducing series. This title screen is cute. Upon starting the game, you'll be greeted with this short intro cutscene. These play before each level and are often really charming. There isn't much in the game to tell you the story, but we can cover that really quickly. King Dedede and his minions have stolen all of the food in Dreamland. This anchors the pink puffball, who springs into action, traversing Dreamland to get all of the stolen food back. It's a very simple story for a very simple game. There isn't much else here, no demonic nightmare monster waiting to surprise us at the end, or some backstory about a billionaire going insane after losing his daughter. King Dedede is a dick for stealing everyone's food, and Kirby is gonna kick his ass. Green Greens is the first level of the game, and it's a great place to get acquainted with the controls and general gameplay. The D-pad moves Kirby, of course, but by hitting up, Kirby will inflate like a balloon and begin to fly, and there is no limit to how long he can stay in the air for. Other than that, Kirby can jump with the A button, and by pressing B, Kirby will begin to inhale. The inhale is Kirby's main method of dealing with enemies, as he can suck them into his mouth and either swallow them or spit them back out as a projectile attack to defeat other enemies. Kirby has a life meter displayed at the bottom of the screen. Kirby can take upwards of 6 hits before losing a life, although dying in this game is of little consequence. You just start back at the beginning of the level section. Getting a game over isn't even that punishing, as you just restart from the beginning of the level you died in. It makes me question what the point of lives are in this game if the punishment for losing all of them is so little. Green Greens is a comfy stage to start off this journey with its grassy fields before moving to this forest where you encounter the game's first boss, Wispy Woods. Wispy is undoubtedly the easiest boss in the game. You should be able to make quick work of him no matter what. Next up is Castle Lololo, and it's in this stage that you might start noticing an uptick in the amount of enemies on screen. It's here you'll also likely encounter the various power-ups that Kirby can utilize in his adventure. The microphone will cause Kirby to shout so loud that it kills every enemy on screen. It's effectively a screen nuke. The bomb acts like an enemy Kirby spat out, except it won't disappear when colliding with something, and it keeps traveling until it goes off screen. The super spicy curry allows Kirby to temporarily shoot out what I think are meant to be fireballs from his mouth. The mint leaf grants Kirby a very similar attack, but also gives him permanent flight. Lastly is the invincibility candy, which gives Kirbo temporary invincibility. It's here that you might start finding the healing items useful. You could find these in Green Greens, but I honestly almost never get hit there, so I felt like this would be the best place to mention them. First is the vitamin bottle, which will restore 2 hit points, while the Maxim Tomato will act as a full restore. The boss, or should I say bosses, of Castle Lololo are Lololo and La La La. Fun fact, they actually originate from a game series called Eggerland. They just push these boxes around that Kirby can suck up and shoot back at them. The third level is Float Islands, which has these nut objects that fall down and explode on Kirby. From the islands, Kirby can take his Warp Star into the blowhole of what appears to be a whale, and is then blasted into the clouds where you engage in a shoot-'em-up boss fight against a blimp called Kabula. The fourth stage, Bubbly Clouds, is where you might actually start facing some challenge. There are more enemies with more aggressive attack patterns, some of which have projectiles like Sir Kibble here. This stage is usually where I lose my first life, so yeah, let that speak as to the overall difficulty of this game. The boss of this stage, Kracko, can be a son of a bitch to deal with. He has the most complex attack patterns of any boss up to this point, which isn't saying much, but this fight was a pain to a younger me. Lastly is Mount Dedede, which places you in this room with 4 doors. Entering a door will take you to a brief level segment where you have to destroy this fake Kirby, and then rematch one of the bosses that you've fought up to this point. The fights aren't any different, so if you haven't struggled with any of them, then this should prove to be no problem. After defeating all 4 bosses again, Kirby can finally take on the Bad Penguin himself. If you've played any Smash game to include Dedede, then this moveset might ring familiar as a lot of it is ripped from this game. After landing the final hit on Dedede, he's sent flying out of his own castle where the power of these stars Kirby got from each boss causes him to inflate so large that he lifts the castle away and returns the stolen food back to the hungry masses of Dreamland. Now you might think that that's it, but once the credits are over you're presented with a new adventure, Extra Mode. By inputting the shown button combination on the title screen, you'll activate Extra Mode. I like this since if you just want to do Extra Mode immediately, it doesn't require a full playthrough of the base game. Be warned though, Extra Mode is leagues more difficult than the previous adventure. I didn't use the NSO's rewind feature for the base game, but holy shit did this make me use it liberally. Some enemies are swapped out with new ones that have more erratic attack patterns, and boss behaviors are way more aggressive. I'm not joking when I say Wispy Woods becomes one of the hardest fights in the game. Fuck, even the mini-bosses are difficult. I didn't mention these previously because they just aren't that difficult normally, but in Extra Mode they're just as hard as the main bosses. This mode is for sure to give you a run for your money. It made me feel more frantic and, what did I do? I'm flying with an enemy in my mouth. Neat. After defeating Dedede in Extra Mode, you'll actually get to see a roll call, which I straight up didn't know existed. You'll also be shown the button combination for the configuration menu. This lets you adjust Kirby's max health and starting lives, and yes, you can set both to 1. Do this and enable Extra Mode to have a makeshift Dread mode. You can also listen to the music and sound effects here, and you know what, yeah, let's talk about that for a bit. Jun Ishikawa is the composer for this game, and he actually continues to work on the series to this day. I would say he did a great job with this game. Green Greens is a nice tune for the first level. Castle Lololo, I mainly know that as the theme that plays when Dynablade shows up in Kirby's Air Ride. I don't know what it is about the Mount Dedede lobby theme, but I fuck with it. It's so short, but I don't know, it just jives with me pretty well. Lastly is the main theme of King Dedede himself, and I love this song. Although if you're a longtime Kirby fan and you haven't played this game, you might be shocked to know that the second half of the song isn't actually in this game. No, that wouldn't be introduced until Kirby Superstar. Regardless, I love this song. Kirby's Dreamland is a fun, albeit short game to play. I think normal mode took me about 20 minutes, with extra mode taking around 30 to 40. I can understand if not everyone wants to play it, however. This game is easy. Maybe a little too easy. But I at least recommend giving extra mode a try, if that's how you feel. Hell, try that makeshift dread mode I mentioned if you really want to punish yourself. Kirby's Dreamland is a comfortable, short Game Boy game that is perfect for anyone with any level of experience with video games. With all of that said, I hope you have a great day or night. Peace.